Now, as mentioned before, this way of doing it is a bit difficult, or well, you have these very long statements and you have to kind of go to your HTML code and count how many levels do you have to go deep into it to get to the correct element. So that not really is the most convenient way of accessing your elements. There are better ways. Now I'll show you the mediocre way first, the way you did it a few years ago, before going to the most optimal one. So a quicker way than this way here is to use some methods the document offers you. For example, the getElements by tag name method, which allows you as a string to specify the tag name you want to get. So if I now clear this and hit run, what do you think I'll get? Well, again, I get a very complex object, but in the end, this will be an array of all the list items here. And by the way, if you're not liking this way of displaying it here, you may also open up your developer tools. And here you also get the same console logs. But here you got them more structured like this, and here you can click into it and see what got selected. So if I clear this and run it again, you see we get an array of list items by this method here. We not only got elements by tag name, we also, for example, have elements by class name. Now we're not using any classes, but let's add some. So I'll add a class here, a CSS class, and I'll name it simple. Now here I can specify simple as the class name by which I want to get elements. And if I run this, you see I also get an array, which in this case only contains one element, with this list item of class simple. And then again, I can access all the properties of this element and so on, the style, which is its own object, and so on. And maybe you want to work with this console here, which is a bit more clear to see, and it's easy to see which properties your elements have and may be set or used. So you got these methods, and you also can find elements by ID, by getElements with the getElement, no elements, but just element by ID. And the reason it's not plural form is that IDs should be unique, right? So you shouldn't get an array of elements, you should get only one. Therefore it's getElement by ID. You also have getElement by name, which is if you assign names to your elements, and so on. So these are nice little selectors to let you get the right element very quickly without having to write these nested statements or chaining multiple property calls to get to the right document. Instead, here you can easily find it, and this also has the advantage that if you change something in your HTML code and you add one extra level to it, you still find it instantly if you search by class name. But if you were chaining your children, first child calls, and then you add one extra layer, well, then suddenly all of the statement is broken and you have to add one extra first child or whatever is appropriate.